Hello, welcome to the Redmen TV. It's match day live and uncensored. We're here for the next 44 minutes, all the way up to kickoff. As it's completely live and uncensored. You can interact with the show if you've not watched before and you're new to this shit, via the comments alongside the video or by tweeting at the Redmen TV. Chris is manning social media corner. Chris, give us a wave. There he is, look at that, handsome chap. I'm joined over in this part of the studio, of course, though, by Jack Hart, and we are Liverpool Magazine's Neil Poole. And someone needs to turn their phone on, so let's see, you've been away, forgotten the rules. Yeah, we're going to be talking through the sides have been off for about 15, 16, 17 minutes now, so Chris has got it for us. Let's first start with him.
Right, okay, so we've got Simon Mignolet in goal, Emre Can, Martin Scale and Mamadou Sakho return to the lineup. I actually thought Lovren would play. I'm surprised that Sakho made up that he's come back in. I think it's his position, so I'm really happy to see that. Adam Lallana, from the way the team's come out, looks to be starting right wing back. Henderson, Allen obviously returning, Moreno left wing back, and then the front three that should send fear into the heart of Swansea: Sterling, Coutinho and Daniel Sturridge.
Yeah, very interesting. Do we agree with that, the Lallana right wing back, first off? Do we believe it's the case, and secondly, do we believe it's a good idea if it is?
I think Swansea are a team who can take hold of a midfield, aren't they? So I mean, particularly playing away from home, there's a risk that maybe if they can start well, they could take control of that midfield, particularly if you consider that Coutinho might be the one who drops into the midfield role. But so I think I'm quite happy to see Sterling higher up the pitch for the benefit of a counter-attack. If we do lose that control of the game, we've got him high up the pitch then, rather than on the right-hand side, which is an attacking role, but he's a bit further away from the action. He's
been inconsistent in that position, hasn't he? To be fair, Sterling, he looked great on the right-hand side, I thought, and looked less great playing in the left wing-back position. Obviously, Moreno's back in, which is a good thing in that regard. Markovic is on the bench, so I think there's a fair case that it could be Sterling again. I mean, if it were up to you, who would you go with in that position?
I'd have Sterling up front, and I'd have Lallana back there.
Yeah.
I think that's a better. I think that then Sterling is a better player than Lallana, and if you're looking to get the best out of your best players, if there's got to be a bit of give and maybe you lose somewhere, I'd rather we lose it from Lallana than we did from Sterling.
Yeah.
So I'm more than happy for Sterling to be up there, and to be honest, that team for me I think that's pretty much as strong as you could get, really. I mean, I doubt
maybe injuries, maybe Lucas Frown, though we've done this.
Yeah, but with available players, I mean, I think if you're going to write your team now, I mean, I doubt there'll be many people. It won't be like before the Southampton game, there won't be many people sort of kicking off with that. The only sticking point is the Lallana and Sterling and where they are, but no, I'm more than happy with that. And I think the key thing is that you've got that back three back.
Yeah.
Like, that's been so successful and so proven.
Absolutely. We were talking the other week about how terrified we were at the back three that finished against Blackburn.
Yes,
and this is clearly our first choice defence. Just 2 seconds, Jack. I just want to go over to Chris. Actually, you feel it's going to be Lallana right wing back. We've discussed his limitations in that position, probably pace, isn't it? But do you agree with what Neil's saying there? Kind of, if you're going to sacrifice one of two players, you're probably getting more from Sterling in his best position than Lallana.
Yeah, I'd agree with Neil. My feeling is just from Liverpool's tweet, to be honest. That's why I thought Lallana, if you look at Liverpool's tweet, they put Lallana, then Moreno. To me, that says he's part of the wing-backs. I agree with Neil. I think you're going to get more from Sterling up front. I think long-term, Sterling, Coutinho and Sturridge need to play together, so it's important that they do that.
Yeah, good shout. Let us know your thoughts in the comments alongside, or by tweeting at the Redmen TV. Thought that Chris will go over to social media in a moment to discuss it. Who would you have in that position, and again, back up with why you think that player would be better used in that position. Chris, subs before we move on?
Yeah, we've got Brad Jones returning to the bench. We're all made up about that one, aren't we? Because he's got great hair.
He's got to practice getting his finger tape ready in time for the charity game, hasn't he?
He must have started last week. Johnson on the bench, Toure and Lovren. We've gone centre-back crazy on the bench. Steven Gerrard makes a return to the bench finally. Ricky Lambert and Lazar Markovic has been dumped to the bench. There you go.
It's a very experienced bench, that, isn't it? Lots of games on there.
Well, you know what I like about that? It's literally got no mention at all. I've not seen anyone really talking about it. Steven Gerrard. You know, and how good is it that Steven Gerrard can almost creep back into the matchday squad? That's you know, and people can say what they want about Steven Gerrard as a waning power. What a phenomenal player to have in reserve if we need it, Joe.
Oh yeah, fantastic to have players like that. I think the selection for this game overall was always going to be quite interesting because we had players, even Lucas and Flanagan were touted as possibly being available. I think Flanagan was available, wasn't he? So it was always going to be a very interesting selection. You know, when you look at the centre backs as well, Gerrard. But you know, it's nice to be able to just play with confidence and know that, you know, Gerrard's there, but we don't. Well, I'll say it now. We don't need him in the lineup, and you know that's. I think, you know, we'd all like to see him in there and still performing at his very best, but to have confidence in a team without him is a nice place to be.
Joe Allen, reportedly a doubt, wasn't he? And it looked like if Lucas is still out, Emre Can's not convinced the midfield, clearly a better option in the back.
Yeah.
There was, worry. There was a worry that Henderson and Gerrard could have been the midfield pair, and you know, with the greatest respect to both players, and I don't think it's necessarily Gerrard's fault as such, but they don't work anywhere near as well as Lucas or Allen have done alongside.
Yeah, and I don't think you're a bad fan for thinking that. I mean, it's not like there's no evidence to back it up. It's not like it's not proven. And like you said, you can sort of pin the tail on like sort of whose fault it is. You know, is it Gerrard? Is it the combination? Whatever. So it's not. You know, there's no problem in having that worry, and you would be relieved that Allen's, you know, back in there, because I mean, the great thing about Gerrard being on the bench is, I think for the first time this season, you're starting to get what you hoped would happen when we signed these players in the summer, of that stronger bench and these options. I mean, I think the most significant one for me has been the fact that we've been able to leave Sturridge on the bench for a few games recently, and you know, play Sterling up front. When before Christmas it was all about, oh bloody hell, we need Sturridge back as soon as possible. But the fact that he's come back and then we're in a situation where we can rest him and play Sterling is great. And it's the same with Gerrard. There's no. I think we might reap the rewards in these last 9 games of we don't need Gerrard to save the day. Yeah. You know, it isn't on his shoulders, and I wonder if.
But fucking hell, even if it is, pretty good shoulders to have it.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like, and
it's not like bringing Ricky Lambert on, or I mean, and Balotelli. And Balotelli's had a good impact in recent, coming off the bench more so than he's had starting games. Certainly.
The thing with Gerrard is, whatever the situation of the game, you can bring him on to do a specific job, whether it be to calm things down or retain possession, or whether we need a goal and we're sort of putting them there, you know, next to the, in that front three, or sort of up there with them. It's like Gerrard is just like a sort of box of solutions as such, that, you know, and you can essentially, like the Istanbul final, you know, we ended up playing at right back. That's always been in this game, that he would be the best player on the pitch wherever it was. Now he's not that good anymore, but he's still as diverse.
Yeah, and to be fair, Chris, you know, Steven Gerrard coming on with 10 minutes to go or 15 minutes to go, regardless of what we or certain corners of the Liverpool fan base might think of him again as this waning force, he is a world-class or former world-class player. The opposition will be shitting themselves to see Steven Gerrard coming off if Liverpool need a goal.
Fucking right they will. I mean, you know, you looked at our bench against Blackburn and stuff, there's just not enough there. Steven Gerrard can make to LA. Well, I think that's crazy, to be perfectly honest with you. Look, he's
whatever
going,
the furthest point from that is, that's where he should probably fuck off to.
But there's been some normal people as well replying. So Liverpool truly said no, Gerrard isn't. Shane Steadman, not anymore. Christine Deggan, I think Gerrard's an impact sub, and Kaylin Felix seems to back your point up. Sub Gerrard on, he's still class.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. If he's not that world class talent anymore on the pitch, he's still got world class influence, I think, and he can still come on and bring that presence on.
That's exactly it, isn't it? It annoys me because, again, I think going back to what you're saying, like, doesn't make you a bad fan to say there's you know, Steven Gerrard's not in Liverpool's best 11. What does make you a bad fan is being a bit of a cunt about it, like, you know what I mean? And I think, you know, everyone's entitled to their opinions, but I'm sure Chris has got a few. But the fact of the matter is, you know, it seems I think people just do it for attention. I think sometimes when they're like, fucking Gerrard shit and blah blah. He's not shit. He's clearly not shit. There are far shitter players, and I've seen far shitter players that couldn't even not fit to lace that man's boots. Granted, he's not at the peak of his powers anymore, but what we don't need him to do.
I think.
Sorry, go on.
I was going to go back to the point you made earlier, actually, about it being nobody's fault that a Henderson-Gerrard midfield wouldn't work, and I think we can see it. You know, when you when you discount who any opposition are and you just put a team on paper, you can see that it's not going to work, that midfield. But I think particularly against a Swansea midfield, I'd be concerned if that was the pairing today. So I'm glad to see Alan.
Hey, listen, if I was picking me Pro Evo or me FIFA team on paper, as it were, Gerrard probably does go into the team still, like, you know what I mean. But because ultimately I can make him run and track back.
The thing is, if you've got a problem with Gerrard being on the bench, you say football's a game of opinion and everything. Not with that. You just need to have a fucking word with yourself. If you're kicking off about him being on the bench, that's he's just what a twat. That's not an opinion. That's a fact.
Well, look, so much hinges on this game today. And we'll get on to that in a wider sense in a minute. Like, but if we can get a result here today, I'm just so looking forward to. Not just Liverpool performance, but the last days of Gerrard's as well. You know what I mean? Like, because it means we're not desperate for him. You know what I mean? It means we can use him the way we need to be using a guy who's in his mid-30s, tail end of his career. So it could potentially be brilliant. Chris, sorry we didn't get a chance to get to enough comments. Have you got more for us?
Not right now.
Excellent. Let's see what we've got here. I'm just going to read one at random. Saif Mahmood, oh fuck off Cobra. Obviously not a G.I. Joe fan. I've
got one anyway. Christine Deggan, Paul, opinions are like assholes. And then we go over to Danger Mike. No, we don't. That's not. I can't read that one out. No, we'll go back to Twitter in a minute. That's fine.
I'll tell you the tweet I saw a couple of weeks ago, right? And I think it's the best Gerrard tweet I've seen in ages. Is someone just said about they had a ticket for a recent game, and they were gutted that Gerrard wasn't playing because it was the only game they were going to get to for the rest of the season, and it meant they'd never see him play again. And I just thought, I haven't just seen a tweet or someone just say something as simple and as oh, fucking gutted, I'm never going to see Gerrard play again. And that's what sums it up for me. I think everyone's getting a little bit too mixed up in this, like, everyone else is carrying his water, blah blah blah, and all this. And it was just good to see someone go, do you know what? I had a chance to see Gerrard. I thought when I bought this ticket in like the members sale or whatever in like November, I thought we could have seen Gerrard. And now I'm not. And I'm never going to see Gerrard in the flesh again. Right. And that's the reality of it.
That's right. It's like you go to, it's slightly different. If you're the kind of fan and you go week in, week out, or as close to as week in, week out as you can afford or are physically able to, you probably do get a bit blasé about it. I know, I've never even thought of it that way. But I know that in years to come, I'll be glad that I got to see some of those. I've seen him stick worldies in against Man United in the top bin with my own eyes. You know what I mean? I've seen him do magical things in football games, but I've seen so many different football games, and there's so many players I'd love to have seen. And you think about like taking to other football clubs, I'd have given anything to see Zidane at the peak of his powers at like Juve or Real Madrid. That would have been sensational, And I think when you take it from a footballing perspective and you kind of remove all that he slipped. World class footballer, privileged to actually watch people like that play at stage. Chris, anything to add?
David over on Twitter at the Brodge LFC. Totally agree with Alan over Gerrard. It's important that we don't let him swan back into the side. See what he did there? Yeah, and then we got Anfield.
You wanted a shout out before? No, done. You've done with that guy.
Anfield Oracle at Anfield_Oracle. Would you say that team is our strongest team other than Lucas Varane? Would you swap anyone if whole squad is fit? And I'm just going to throw out a name, Ibe.
Yeah, Jordan Ibe would be in there for me. That's the only one. I think Lucas will come in for Allen, but if Joe Allen plays in this game like he's played in the last couple of games in that position, I think it's much of a muchness. I think exactly what we're saying there, I don't know if you agree, Jack, but because of the fact that we're kind of wasting one of Sterling or Lallana, I'd rather have one of them on the bench and have Ibe, or even a Markovic in form playing on the right hand side.
Yeah, Markovic the last few weeks has looked a bit less of an option. He's been very functional, he's worked hard. He's almost probably rather be playing higher up the pitch, you imagine, so he's doing a good job, but he's just lost that bit of end product that looked like it was on its way just before Christmas, so he has, he's not had the impact we kind of thought he might push on and have towards the end of the season, or towards this stage of the season.
So if you had to pick, what different from tonight would be your
I'd like Ibe in there would be the best option, I think, instead of Lallana on the right hand side.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that earlier on we were talking about the Sterling Lallana situation, and it seemed to be best. We seem to be concentrating on getting the best out of individual players rather than necessarily looking to get the best out of the right wing back slot. So I think that tells you where the balance is in terms of what we're looking for. We're looking to have Sterling give us his best game rather than the unit itself.
What about you now?
I would go exactly the same in terms of vibe for Lallana. I would actually put Lucas in place of Alan. I appreciate Alan has played well over the last few games and sounds great, but I think
just, when you just feel a conversation going on, I really appreciate you and what you do.
I appreciate he's done well
That's
lately.
not love,
It's
is
not
it?
you, it's me.
Yeah.
What he does is very nice, but go on.
I forgot what I was going to say now, but his boss put him up front. I was about to diss him. I was going to say that Lucas Leiva for me is more consistent, and it is. I don't know when I'm going to watch this game now whether Alan is going to be what he's been like the last few games, or whether he's going to go back to shit. Right? Well, if I'm watching Lucas Leiva, I pretty much know what I'm going to get, and I think Alan's top level is probably on a par with Lucas's top level, but I think Lucas performs more consistently than Alan.
Well, it's a great point that Lucas Leiva came back into the side, Chris, and performed on that run until he got injured. Joe Allen's come into the side, struggled to get into form, struggled to nail down a place, and now he's finally starting to come to form. So I think exactly what Neil's saying there. There's not enough of a... What's the word? Like if you had a
sample.
Yeah, exactly. There's not enough sample data there to be able to draw probably a firm conclusion over Joe Allen as the ultimate first teamer in that position.
But I think Joe Allen is playing well at the moment. I've got a problem with that.
Stop qualifying it's out there.
Yeah. My concern is...
You think he's shit? Whoa. Come on. The descendants of anarchy.
Lucas has definitely proven that he's more consistent, I think. I just think that Joe Allen, if he's playing well, offers more to the side than Lucas. Lucas is brilliant at what he does, but I just don't think that he's got the technical ability of Joe Allen, basically.
Fucking hell, that's the Joe Allen fan club in the corner of the game.
That's my opinion. There it
is. I'm just waiting for the comments to come out about how much Chris loves Joe Allen.
Hang on, we'll go to keep it shocking. Chris Pajak is the Adam Lallana of RMTV, always running like a madman and glimpses of both magic and absolute shite.
Just on your knees after Dizzy Pens. Yeah, absolutely. If you haven't seen Dizzy Pens, what the fuck have you been doing with your life? It's literally, we've been doing Redmen for like 4.5 years. I've been sat editing my face and his face and doing so much stuff for so long. And at times, times it's brilliant, at times it's a bit of a chore. That is the greatest moment almost in my life. Was watching Chris do Dizzy Penalties. Go check out the YouTube channel, it's there. And if you've watched it, let us know your thoughts on it now in the comments and sell it to everyone else, because who doesn't want to watch Chris Pajak spin round 25 times with face plant trying to take a penalty?
I like the fact he's sped it up like Burial or something.
Yeah. If you're not the kind of person who likes that, then I fear for you in life in general. Okay, just go back to the defence. We only touched on it very briefly. I'm delighted that Mamadou Sakho is back in that team. Absolutely delighted. Anyone care to offer an alternative opinion to that?
I agree. He's the man I want in there, I think.
Go on.
No, I want Sakho back in the
Oh, right, you smile like, go ahead, I'll have a bite of this. I'll have a little bite of this. Go bobbing for apples. I mean, Jack, Chris said as you were going for the team earlier, that's his position, isn't it?
Yeah, it should be. I think so. And I think I was going to say, when you were talking about the sample of games that Joe Allen hasn't necessarily had, he's playing well, so I think we carry on and give him that. The same applies to Sakho, really. He's had a few runs that have been getting towards lengthening the team over the last season and a half, 2 seasons, but he's never really had a really long run. So I think you just got to... He's shown the performance levels to deserve to go straight back in, and so I think we let him continue the chance he was given.
Yeah, I think he's terrific.
Yeah, I think when he played the half for the reserves the other night, that sort of gave the indication that there was a good chance that he'd play tonight. But the great thing about him coming back is it's twofold. You get him back as an individual player, but secondly, you get that back three unit that's performed so well, or back four if you include Mignolet, back together again. And while we still haven't conceded that many goals since Sakho's been out, and the defence, has ticked along nicely.
I've not felt confident.
Exactly. It's still been a lot more hairy, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And I think we've been let off a few times, if we're honest about it. So just to get I mean, you would imagine that Jan and Skirtle are made up his back as well, and Mignolet is made up his back.
I just said
like a little unit.
I just said it's not related to football ability whatsoever. This is me. I like footballers. I like religious footballers. I'll say it. I'll throw it out there because I like people who put that. Because all of the great world class footballers I've seen put their faith in God, and I'm happy for that. You know what I mean? And I love the balance of literally having Emre Can and Sakho praying before kick-off. I think they're praying for Skirtle, and I think that's been why his performance has been much improved with them either side. Like, but no, I just do. I don't know why it is. It's just like I like the fact that. You know, for whatever people's opinions on whether there's a higher power or not, if there is, the more people you've got in your team, the more likelihood that he's going to smile on your team. That's I think it's covering all bases as far as
God is boss t-shirts.
God is boss t-shirts, all that. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, get your Fowler flags out, whatever it is you need to do. No, I'm very, very happy with that because I think just the balance, Jack, the balance of having a left-footed player in that position. We discussed this the other week. Lovren is pseudo both-footed, but he's definitely right-footed.
Yeah.
And just simply playing right-footed passes down the wing to Moreno is far less effective than playing it on the outside.
Well, I was going to mention Moreno, and I think as well as the other players in the defensive unit and Mignolet, Moreno will be really happy that Sakho's back because although
he's missed having balls twatted at his ankles from 15 yards.
But I think we are more secure at the back with Sakho in there, and so it means that Moreno's that bit freer. And I think Moreno's been sort of one of the overlooked players in the last 2 or 3 months. I think he's been really good, and he's played that role almost every game, and he's been a really important player in our good run of form. So I think he's another real benefit from Sakho being back in behind him.
Yeah, great. If you just joined us, welcome to Matchday Live and Uncensored. We're here all the way to kick off now. I'm presuming you're here because you're booking. I don't think Sky have even talked about Liverpool. We've got it on so we know when the game kicks off, but all I've seen them is talking about Man City and Pellegrini and all this shit. Liverpool are playing tonight, Sky. Pull your finger out. Anyway, don't, because then it means people can come and watch us instead. Anyway, thanks very much for joining us. Keep your comments coming in at the Redmen TV on Twitter or in the comments alongside Mr. Chris Page. Have you got anything lined up for us right now?
Yeah, a question for you, Paul. Andrew Mitchell, big legs and little arms, or little arms and big legs?
I've got big arms and little legs. Is that what it is? I don't know. That's a very interesting one. I throw that to the panel and the people watching at home.
Yeah,
Jack, big legs and little arms, or little arms and big legs?
No, I've not got a strong opinion on this one.
Medium, both.
I think big arms and long legs would be quite consistent, but I'll go for the second one, whatever that was.
Little arms and big legs?
Yeah, I'll go for that.
Nice, I like it. Why?
Boss, aren't they?
Hang on. I'd go for short legs if I could have my arms like Mr. Tickle.
Sounds.
Just being fucking long arms, like full on, so I can get I've got to so I can get a biscuit out the biscuit tin from bed. Basically, that is the thing. That's the opener.
Is this like what you prefer?
Listen, don't come to me. It's Roger Hargreaves. He came up with it.
Is that what you prefer to have yourself, or what you find attractive in a man?
Carlos David's got an interesting question as well. Are Chris and Paul lovers? Not for want of trying.
Like Jay and Silent Bob, hetero life mates. That's all I'll say.
Caleb Felix says no arms, no legs.
No arms, no legs. Yeah.
Black Projects, little arms and open legs. Nice.
Yeah.
Now we're like Sky.
We're not talking about Liverpool either. Yeah. So if you're looking for any Liverpool coverage, unfortunately, not today. You mentioned someone mentioned Flano before. I'm chuffed that he's back and available. I don't know where he could possibly fit into this, but I do like the idea. It came out this week that he said, I've been studying the tapes of the new formation, and I like the idea that he's been sat at home all day, basically flipping between videos of us playing and probably Babe Station. You know what I mean? When he gets a bit bored, or the other way around, and coming back to it and just getting dead excited all day long. Keeping himself amused.
He needs a new deal if he's still watching tapes. He needs DVD or Blu-ray, doesn't he? Yeah. He's a footballer.
Yeah, he's got some music on cassette.
He's got that whirring noise going when you read.
He's got a Spectrum 48.
He's got a pen ready to wind it up with fucking spools, unfortunately. Neil, can John Flanagan get it back into this team? And if so, where?
Well, 18 months ago you wouldn't have thought that he could, and he did. So I suppose like a strike twice. I think he's certainly good enough to be a squad player. I'm not too sure whether he'd be first choice, but it's just squad strength, and it's just good to have that option. And you know, I think this could sound like, you know, an ex-Liverpool player pundit. You know, he won't let you down. You know, he'll sort of give his all and all that. So yeah, I think if he's happy to be a squad player,
yeah,
then I mean, there is talk of him getting a new contract, isn't there? So I mean, if he's happy to be a squad player, he sort of knows his place.
Is that just to divert attention? Liverpool signed player down to contract talks. Finally, it was, oh my God, Sterling sorted. No, and there's Ian there shaking Flanagan's hand in front of a crest of some description.
Yeah, well, I think there's a chance to get him back in. I mean, you know, injuries and things. I mean, a lot of players have taken their opportunities this season through. I mean, Mignolet getting back in the team, Sakho getting back in the team. So I mean, these things do happen, and if you had to rely on Flanagan to come in to cover an injury, then you know you wouldn't be nonplussed. You'd be fairly.
The funny thing about Flanagan is Chris and I were watching the Liverpool Arsenal 5-1 highlights back this morning for we actually oh shit, I just remembered. If you want to win tickets to Liverpool Man United, we've got 2 pairs to give away. Last chance saloon. The competition closes at 1 minute to midnight UK time tonight. Go check out the YouTube channel. It's called Win tickets to Liverpool Man United. Go and do that now. But anyway, for the next competition, we were looking at towards the Arsenal game. Flanagan's playing right back for us there, and there's a moment where he gets into the, you know, he steams up the right hand side, gets on the overlap, gets into the box, and you forget he was really good. When we were good last season, he was really good as well.
He came back in from nowhere, didn't he?
Yeah.
Quite literally, and performed for months. Did really well in the team. I think he's missed out this year on possibly assuming Glenn Johnson's role as the utility man who can kind of play
on both sides.
Yeah, and not just in. He can play both sides in a 4. I mean, I'd be quite content to see him picked at wing back. He wouldn't be my first pick at the moment, but I'd be interested to get a look at him at some point. And I wonder as well whether he could possibly do a job in a 3 as well.
That's a great question. I mean, if you're watching, let us know. If you're not watching, you won't be able to let us know, definitely. We can write that off straight off. Where would Flanagan fitting? Like right wing back, right of a 3, as Jack mentions there, something we discussed through the week. I mean, the question, Chris, I'll come to you on this. If it's right wing back, if Manquillo can't get a look in, is Flanagan better than Manquillo? Is Manquillo better than Flanagan?
I don't know. I think Flanagan's better than Manquillo, to be honest, but I think you've got to look at it the way the lads train before the games with the bibs. You know, the wing backs wear the attacking bibs. You know, if they were wearing defensive bibs, then I think there's a place in the side for Flanagan and both Manquillo, but they don't. They are part of the attacking sort of 5 players, aren't they? So I think that player has to be more attacking, and as good as Flanagan is going forwards, I don't think he's good enough for us. I think
he's a surprise going forward, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a surprise, exactly. Whereas, you know, if you put Sterling there or Ibe there, they can go at a player and whip a ball in. Whereas Flanagan, you are genuinely surprised every time he does it.
Yeah, it's true. Well, let's not get too bogged down. I hope he gets a chance. I think I love his attitude. I love his work, and I love the fact that, as you said there, Neil, he surprised everyone at times last season. He looked great when he came in under Dalglish. He was given the opportunity against like City, wasn't he, when he was very, very young, and I think he had a look in. They have a look in against Arsenal in that mad game where we ended up with...
Yeah, you know, he's got that experience in the bank of last year when, I mean, last year's diamond was this year's, you know, 3 at the back, isn't it? You know, the sort of the thing that we didn't think we'd end up playing, but was the solution to us going on a win and run. And he was part of the team that adapted to that throughout the season. Well, throughout the season, it was from the whole game, wasn't it, in November. And, you know, he played in a variety of those different formations. So he is that one player. You'd never have thought that he was a Brendan Rodgers type player, but he is becoming a Brendan Rodgers type player by virtue of the experience that he's had. Yeah. That a lot of these new players never had at the start of the season, but will by the end of this. So you can trust him to come in and whatever. You always be watching his videos, you know what I mean? So, you know, but you'd be fairly confident that he could come in and do a job because you've seen him do that before.
Maybe he's been watching the John Barnes story while he's been off as well, like, and he's going to come back as an amazing dribbler, who knows?
I think it's the psychological aspect of his experience as well. I mean, he's not... Last season, he wasn't playing in a middling team kicking dust around in 7th. It was, you know, the stakes were as high as they could get. You know,
very good point, Chris.
Yeah, we've got a few over on the YouTube comments actually on Flano. The German Eagle, brilliant player though, heart on his sleeve every match. Players like him are rare nowadays. Peter Regan, Flano can cover all over the back, modern utility man. Loisy Machali, Flano. and Paul Lennon. All you can do is try Flano and see. He may surprise you. You never thought Hendo would be the player that he is today.
No, it's a very good point. Like I say, I hope that
he's bulked up though, hasn't he, Flano?
He will have done, because he's not been able to
do it for
like 6 months.
He does look like, you know, he's been training in the gym hard. That says to me, like, I mean, he's actually put a lot of muscle on. That says he's probably looking at more right centre back.
I hope so. I said this in the past. I think he's potentially a good little option. What I hope is that we get the opportunity to see. I don't want it to get to the end of the season and he ends up moving for like $500,000 to Wigan or Bolton or something like that, as they all do. You know, I'd like to see him get an opportunity. Maybe if he needs another year on his contract or whatever, keep him, because the thing is, he might get a look in between now and the end of the campaign, but he's not going to be fit, is he? He's going to be miles off match fitness because he's not played for that long. So, but I hope if anyone deserves it, and it's daft because maybe it's like Scouse tinted glasses to some extent, but fuck it. Scousers deserve greater opportunities within this side. I'll just say that right here and right now. You know, I think if there's a difference between a young general English lad and a Scouse lad who are both around a similar level or whatever, I'd give preference to the Scouse lad because particularly if he's a boy Liverpool fan as well, which I'm presuming Flanagan is.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
You know, there you go. Because you've got to be careful because all our good players have been boiled Evertonians or had both kits. Chris, have you got any more comments for us there?
Fuck it. Johnny Reid, would you rather shag a goat once and everyone know about it, or shag a goat once a week and nobody know? Now, I was going to ask it to you guys, but I thought I'd answer for you, save you the embarrassment. I'd shag the goat once, right? I'd see how good a layer is, and then I'd make my decision based on that, because you don't want to get caught in a once a week shag with a goat if he's no good in bed. You just don't want that. Back to you, Paul.
No. Back to you. Christ, yeah, I mean, please do by all means, if you fancy it, leave your answers in the comments alongside. I'll be abstaining from this one, which may cast more suspicion over me than actually answering. No, yeah, by all means, if you want to send more random questions in, tweet at Mr. Blood Red instead. We're going to be doing more quickfire stuff, I think, in the next few weeks. Like, so that'll be the home of your more random questionage. Not here.
That's a slight nudge for stop doing this, Chris. Let's get back onto the game.
Actually, we talk about potential transfers. I mentioned Wigan briefly there. Jerome Sinclair going to loan on Wigan. What do you think? Decent move?
If he gets a game, then yeah.
I haven't seen their form recently, but they were doing really bad.
Struggling.
Yeah.
With relegation.
That would concern me a little bit, unless he's given the opportunity to be the main man, which maybe. If you're in that battle, you want more experience there, don't you? You know, if he's in a team who he's got the chance to finish off everything that goes forward, fair enough. But if they're really bad and there's more senior players, I'd worry that there's not really much benefit and it's just going to be trauma.
I think we always say, Neil, if a player's good enough to make it at Liverpool and he goes down to the Championship on loan, he's got to be one of the best players in that league. Yeah. And I think that might be hard. I think what Jack said's right there. It's different to being like a winger where you can make your own chances to a certain extent.
Yeah. To
being a centre forward, but I would, he's a terrific player. I think he's done all he's going to do in the youth teams at Liverpool. It's about time he got some experience.
And it's only to the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's got nothing to lose, really. He'll get his fucking leg broken, but on the whole, he's got nothing to lose, and if he's going to get a more competitive game. I mean, at the end of the day, playing Wigan is like pretty much playing, the bottom third of the Premier League. It was a similar, similar grounds and similar attendances in a lot of cases and things. So, no, I think I don't see the problem with it. I mean, what's he going to get playing in the reserve? Sort of, how many games is there left? Not that many, is there? So you hopefully play a bit more, but yeah, I mean, it's one of those you see, you sort of shrug your shoulders. It's not.
I don't know. He's the for me. Yeah, normally, like, look, Shea Ojo's there already. He goes there. Literally this, not asked. I mean, like, I hope he succeeds. I absolutely want it to be brilliant, but we've all been watching and waiting for Sinclair. He's considered like the next in line. Ives now made the transition up to the first team. He's the other player that everyone's been going, watch out for this kid, because he's amazing, and he's been amazing throughout the youth level since he's been in the team. We obviously brought him in with that in mind. So I'm actually, for the first time in ages, for a loan out, there's a possibility, slight though it may be, that I might actually pay some attention to how he does.
Well,
Divock Origi scored a hat-trick as well.
Yeah.
Flying.
I mean, you got to look at it from his point of view as well. I mean, he's seen Ibe go out on loan, do well, come back, and all of a sudden, he's like, he's almost a starter, and probably would still be starting now if he wasn't injured. So he's got to look at that and think, maybe in the past with Liverpool, I mean, I like the way we've had a successful loan in Ibe for the first time I can remember, to be honest, because rather than it just them going off to some fucking desolate wasteland where we never see them again, it's like you've got Ibe there.
I'm going to Yeovil to prove myself, and then
exactly.
I'll be back.
Exactly. I mean, and I know Wigan's a different kettle of fish, they're in a relegation battle and everything, but nonetheless, there's a positive role model in Ibe there for the loan system and what it can do for you at Liverpool if you pull your finger out. And the thing was, he was one of the best players at Derby, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So, I think he might be looking at that and going, it worked for Ibe. Fuck it, why? I'll try it.
Yeah, definitely.
It reminds me, and I know age and potential and so on are different, but it reminds me a bit of the Letalic to Sunderland one years ago. When I just wondered, does playing in a team who are struggling that much just damage it?
But he's not arsed though, is he? Because was it like 9-10 games to go? They're not in that position because of him. He'll go there and you get relegated. It's not
You know what
really
it feels
arsed,
more
is
like
it?
actually in that, I'd say like Pacheco maybe at Norwich,
Okay,
you know what I mean? Like in that, struggling to, he could make himself a bit of a cult hero, but for what? To what end? The kid's got all the attributes he needs. If he can go away, he can get a goal or two. As Neil says, I don't think it can do any potentially great harm to him.
I think it'll do him a world of good. I think he might go into a struggling side and get Jack Point there because that does affect people, obviously. But if he goes and gets 2 goals, then that'll make him feel king of the world. Doesn't matter what the team are doing, really.
Thinking about it as well, we've mentioned Ibe and his Derby loan, but he was actually at struggling Birmingham last year, wasn't he? It's not done him damage, so I disagree with myself.
There you go.
Bill's character.
It's not like a little bit of contradicting yourself on a live show. That's what we're here for. Keep any of your thoughts on that. On Jerome Sinclair and that in the comments alongside. Tweet us at the Redmen TV as well. We're fast approaching kick-off. We've got about 6-7 minutes till the game kicks off. Let's talk about the bigger picture then. I'm really nervous about this game. Really, really nervous. And not like in a nervous anticipation. No, I'm sick. I'm sick with anticipation. I'm also sick. I'm not well, which doesn't help us. So it's a contributing factor, certainly. So yeah, but which is why I'm a whole space away from everyone else on the couch. No, we can't. It just feels like a game we can't afford to lose, And I think, unfortunately, Jack, every game's going to feel like that between now and the end of the season.
Yeah, being the Monday night fixture doesn't help when. It's daft because a couple of teams have dropped points, and it doesn't feel like we've benefited from that in any way whatsoever because our form is such that. In our heads, we were ahead of them teams anyway. So
yeah, we've already written Southampton and Spurs out of it.
We shouldn't be, but
no, you're right.
And even City's form means that there's another slot has opened up there, but it just feels like the pressure's so intense. And the horrible thing is, even if we win this game and the next couple of games, we're going to get that again if other teams keep up the form because we play on a Monday night in a month's time, don't we, as well?
Yeah.
So.
This is the nature of the game, isn't it? We were so shit at the start of the season that we've left ourselves in a position where we've got the margin of error is basically non-existent at the moment. We need to keep this up.
It shows you how bad that first half of the season was, that we've been on the run we have, which has been incredible. And we're still not actually in that top 4. And like tonight's game, it does feel really, I don't want to build it up too much, I don't really believe in must-win games and everything unless you're going to stop existing if you lose, but
like a career match, Ric Flair versus Macho Man.
It feels like it's very Rafa Benitez says sort of fine margins. You win tonight, you're only 4 points behind Man City, and you can pull them back into it. You even get a draw tonight, and then you see what happens on Sunday. It just starts looking a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
But I think
Brendan Rodgers is talking, Chris, about 23 points from the final 30 he thinks will be enough to get us into the Champions League, which, as that suggests, we're going to drop points somewhere. But is it, for the sake of keeping the momentum going and keeping the fans on side, I think, is it really important not this game that is the one where we drop the point?
No, I think it's more important that we don't drop points against United.
Yeah.
I think that's the one that matters at the end of the day. If we lose to Swansea and beat Man United, we're still 2 points behind them.
Yeah.
You know, if we win today and we lose against Man United, it's a completely different thing.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. It's a good point. I just, as I say, I think the problem is at the minute is it feels like we as fans, I know so I feel like we're teetering on the brink. You know, and that's the nature of it.
You know what that is though? We're teetering on the brink because we've got ourselves back into a position that matters.
Yes,
and you know, we've actually got something. This is what it's like when you're playing for trophies, or when you're playing for winning the league, or you're playing for top 4 position.
Playing
you
for
know,
Arsenal's Cup.
Yeah, that's what it's about though. It means that you've got something to aim for, and every single game is important, and it always will be when you're fighting for something.
You're dead right, actually. Funny enough, I was talking to a cab driver about this before. And it's,
enjoy it.
Try me. Well, you're right. Try your best. I think that's it. I think the problem is that we were so. I was so convinced that last season was the season. You know what I mean? And let's not drag that up too much. But I think we're so broken by that I almost like. I don't want to love again. You know what I mean? I kind of like I can't bring myself to to let me guard down and we're going to finish. No, it's not gonna. There won't be no vines of me singing daft things outside Anfield this season. Potentially, just the banking. This is the thing, isn't it? O'Neill, it's. I do feel like I've been the victim of abuse or something. You know what I mean? Like I can't. I'm really struggling to sort of. To fully get myself into it, because it does feel like if we were to drop points, then like everything would feel like it's over. You know what I mean?
No, it is strange. I mean, I was just like says like Evertonian mates for years. It's easy to be used because
speaking of victims of abuse,
because like sort of when you've got like no hope, you know what I mean. There's nothing to worry about. And to be fair, I mean, I'll be honest. I probably never said that out loud, but in my head, late November, early December, I thought this season was a write-off. I didn't think for 1 second we'd get back into this Champions League fight for 4th, 3rd, and even possibly 2nd. I did not see that coming at all. So, like Chris has said, I mean, you sort of in a way got to count your blessings, but it is like hope is a wicked mistress, isn't it? You know what I mean? And sometimes it's just easier to just be shit and never sort of get your hopes up. Because like last year when we never won the league, I felt like getting fucking relegated to me at the end of it. I mean, it felt absolutely terrible. And like you said, I don't even know if I'm over it yet, properly. And this is a bit like this again. You're on the brink of getting something decent this season, but you know what? I didn't think we would in November. And the fact that we're back in it is fucking amazing for the turnaround, to be honest. So I'm hopeful.
We've just got to keep. Again, I've said it a lot in recent times, but keeping the faith, I think, to some degree. It's annoying. They'll do it or they won't. You know what I mean? If we do it and we keep it, if we do it, and it's, you know what, Chris, we've had this conversation. What's the game where you're gonna believe? And I actually said the other week was the game when we beat City. I said this is definitely the game when I now believe top 4 is on. But it's very easy to say that when you're not 30 seconds away from kick-off against Swansea away from home. So there you go. Right, let's know your thoughts. Is a top 4 push for Liverpool? Does it hinge on getting 3 points against Swansea tonight? Or can you see us picking ourselves back up again and going again against United and so on past this? Let us know in the comments. Tweet us at the Redmen TV. We'll be back at half-time for the live show. If you're not sure where the link is for that, go on theredmentv.com. That's our website. It's embedded there, but we'll also be sharing the links on YouTube and on Twitter as well. Anyway, we'll see you back here in 45 minutes' time. Fingers crossed, it's all about Brendan's men. I mean, it will.